How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What is up, Will?
We made it.
We made it past all the power outages. We needed to record a show. Welcome, everybody, to Story of the Fight. My name's Merrill. That's my boy, Will. And this is where we talk all things mixed martial arts. You know what? We don't just talk about the UFC. We talk about a lot of other organizations. There's other fish in the sea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But today we are talking about the UFC.
Yeah.
UFC Vegas, what is it, like 800 something?
UFC Vegas 85, the apex of apex events.
Apex of apex events, absolutely. We had a pretty fun main event, but before we get into it,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm just trying to tease it a little bit. You know what I mean? But before we get into it, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Goes a long, long way. If you don't like watching, but you like listening, they can find us in other places, right, Will?
Yeah, it's Story of the Fight on everything. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. If you go to storyofthefight.com, you'll see all our socials. You'll also see our merch store where you can buy shirts, hoodies, cool shit. But yeah, storyofthefight.com lists everything. Just go through, follow Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, all that stuff.
You were so close to saying beanies.
Yeah, I wanted to say the beanie, but unfortunately the cool beanie that Ramiro is rocking is discontinued, is no longer available. We're trying to find a replacement, but we'll make it happen. But for now, it is not available.
Temporarily retired.
Yeah. Regen says, what the hell's going on right now? Yeah, the power outage caused us to miss the live stream on Sunday. Shout out Ganskow.
Ganskow's still here. He's been on the entire time, actually.
Yeah, he's had it up.
He has not
since Sunday.
Logged on.
We were going to do it yesterday, but then we couldn't. So we're here now to cover it was such an anticipated event on Saturday that we needed to cover it, even if it's 3 days removed. You know
Everybody was just waiting, chomping at the bit to talk about. You want to just get right into it? We've been waiting so long. We had Nasruddin Imavov versus Roman Dolidze in the main event. Hey, you know how your boy feels about Roman Dolidze.
Does your boy still feel the same way about Roman Dolidze?
Yeah, not so much. So let me explain what's going on here, dude. With Roman Dolidze, man, he could be an exciting fighter with the right matchup, right? Like, this guy's willing to go out there. He's willing to bite down on his mouth guard. He's willing to throw that overhand right and hope that something lands. But if it doesn't land, we in trouble.
Yeah, and if you have any sort of takedown defense, we're in even more trouble because his grappling is really fun. Like his transitions on top, his top game is vicious, right? Yeah. And like it's super fun to watch him cut through people's guard, all this stuff, land crazy ground and pound, go for leg locks, all this cool stuff. But if there's any sort of resistance, it's gonna be a long night. And
yeah, you know, Imavov did a really good job of staying in his range, making Dolidze fight his fight. I thought that, you know, when he was keeping that range and Dolidze was having a hard time closing the distance, I thought, okay, the only chance he's really going to have is blitzing, eating a shot, and just clinching on for dear life and making it as dirty as possible, which he tried for a little bit.
He definitely clinched. I don't know if he tried to make it dirty at all. But actually, Rich, can you go back to that last picture? This was the coolest thing for me is Imavov was landing his right hand so well. And like he would land his long right hand. He would just kind of feint with the left, long right hand. It would land, and then you see how he's leaning to his left. If you're listening, you can't see, but if you're watching, you can see the picture. But see how he's kind of leaning to his own left as he throws that right. He would do that, and he would weave out the other side to the elbow side, and then frame off with his hands. And then, can you go to the next picture, Rich? Bam. And so off that lean and frame, he'd control the distance, and then he'd throw that knee to the body. It was such a cool combination where he's throwing the right hand and dipping out so that he's not there for the return. And then as he's outside of the center line, his hands are out to grab to keep range and then drop that knee in. It was beautiful. He did it like 7 times throughout the fight.
And he hurt Dolidze with that knee, right?
Yeah.
That first big knee.
Yeah.
He rocked him, man.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be out.
Yeah, it looked like that was kind of the beginning of the end because he ends up.
You know who won this fight? You know who won this fight? Herb Dean.
Who's that? Yeah.
Herb Dean did a fantastic job throughout this entire fight, man.
Yeah, he did.
And this fight was a reminder for me of the tough job that the refs have. And I know that we give them a hard time, right? But the Dolidze drops, you got Imavov just raining down shots from France. And then I'm like, oh, I would have stopped it right there.
Yeah.
He needs to stop this. And then he didn't. And Dolidze was still there. And like he's still defending. And he's like trying to roll into some type of leg lock and just doing whatever he can to survive. And then up he goes again. I was like, oh, snaps, Herb Dean doing his damn thing.
Yeah. Well, it was cool because Imavov eventually took his back, right? At the end of the first, he drops him, takes his back, and he's landing those big, like, who was it against Gustafsson? Was it Rumble against Gustafsson where they had him kind of in that like back mount, and he's just like throwing those uppercuts across the body underneath as you're like posting on both your arms. So he was landing those, couldn't get it. He starts falling off the top, so he switches to the armbar. I saw some people online saying, "What a dumb IQ move to go for the armbar there." And it's like there was 10 seconds and he was falling off. The armbar kept him in the attacking position for the whole round. So like actually a really solid move from Imavov there. And then so he gets out of the round. He survives. This picture is not until later, but I mean it was kind of just more of the same up until this. It was basically Imavov landing that right hand, dipping out of the return. He'd counter the big overhand right from Dolidze with like a left hook or something, and then he was gone. His entering and exits were fantastic the whole fight. Really good use of range. Dolidze would just miss his overhand right over and over again, and then he would like clinch up and just put him up against the fence, not really do anything. He didn't ever really drop for a shot. He never went for like a single leg or anything. He just kind of pressed him up against the fence. Imavov would just kind of chill because he's like, this isn't scoring. I'll just wait until we get out of this position. I'll start landing these hands and this knee again. He also was landing that nice snap kick, the lead leg snap kick to the body that we just saw Peru hurt super leg with. That was good too. And then this position, Dolidze was kind of just lazily holding him in the clinch. So there was a couple times Imavov would get that back body lock and he would just break his posture and kick him in the face from behind. It was fucking really cool. Anthony Pettis used to do that a lot, actually. But it was cool seeing someone do that because it's been a while. And then he did it illegally once. But it's still a really cool technique.
He sure did. A couple things with that. Dolidze probably should have taken more time, huh? If you're Dolidze.
Here's the thing that was weird. He's holding his eyes like he got poked.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone's like, oh, a toe must have went in the eye. But then you see the picture here.
Kicked in the face.
He just got smacked in the face, dude.
Yeah, dude. Really hard.
No toe went in. Yeah.
Really hard with the shin. Right? Like across the bridge of the nose, like by where the eyes are.
I mean, you can see it here. It's right in the face. It's a bad, it's not good. But yeah, maybe take some more time. Maybe not continue.
Try to recover a little bit longer.
Maybe
and try to, get a little more energy back because he was exhausted, man.
I mean, he was getting
He looked tired.
He was getting worked.
Yeah, that could be exhausting. Getting beat up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Eric Nixick was like, hey, man, we need you at this point. Stop throwing the overhand right. Switch to southpaw. So you're in more of a wrestling stance. Your entries are going to be better in southpaw. Shoot on him. We need you to shoot, not clinch. We need you to actually shoot on him. And he was like, all right, cool. The next round, they're fighting. He's throwing the overhand. And then he switches southpaw. And I was like, oh, he's actually going to shoot. Let's see if he has the energy to shoot. And he's like, just kidding. I just went southpaw so I could throw this spinning back elbow and miss from like a mile away.
Yeah, that was rough, man.
And then he's back to orthodox throwing the overhand right.
Herb Dean, good job taking the point, I thought.
You gotta.
Excellent job taking the point. There was this is a hard warning like we usually get. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then good job separating as well when there was a giant lull in action.
Oh, yeah. Well, not just that. There wasn't really that much of a lull because you had Chris Curtis in the corner of Dolidze talking shit to Imavov because he's all salty about their headbutt.
Classic.
And then Imavov tries to like run over to him, and Herb Dean has to literally clinch him and walk him all the way across the cage saying, I will disqualify. I'll disqualify.
Oh, my God, dude. What a disaster, huh?
Yeah. Full-on disaster. This picture right here is basically the story of the fight, pun intended. It's basically I'm throwing this overhand right so looping that you see it from a mile away and you can frame.
That's why I made sure that we had this picture on here because I knew we were going to talk about that overhand right and it not working. And I was like, well, this was the fight.
Yeah, and actually I wanted to talk about too real quick. I'm surprised we're spending this much time on this fight, to be honest. But
I know, right?
I've been watching the Craig Jones Balls to Wall
Oh,
instructional
you
that he
texted
put
me
out.
about it.
Yeah. Dude, so good. For those of you who don't know, Craig Jones is the jiu-jitsu guy who's been teaching Volkanovski. And I was like, oh, jiu-jitsu guy teaching its instructional on cage wrestling. Let's see what this, maybe, who knows. Your immediate thought is kind of a weird guy to be doing that. And then you think about how much success Volkanovski had in the cage or on the cage with Islam Makhachev. And then you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, this is the guy that trained him for that. I don't want anybody else to teach me about cage wrestling. And a lot of it is about, if you're deep on a shot, you want to kind of, you can dig an underhook and all that stuff, but really what you want to do is you want to pinch an overhook, split squat, pinch an overhook, fish the underhook if you can. But if you pinch that overhook, you can shrug them up, and then you can start to break that posture that they're trying to be bent over at on the takedown, right? And the whole time watching this, it's like Dolidze is just chest to chest with them, no real good head position, just holding him like that. There's zero threat of being taken down. And he effectively did all the hard work for Imavov by getting into that position, because Imavov's completely safe in that position. But if you haven't checked it out, definitely watch that instructional. It's fucking good. It's really good. Yeah, dude. It's good.
Dude, I gotta check it out. All right. Well, do you have anything else on the main event?
No, I mean, what do? I think Imavov called out Strickland. They've already fought before. Dolidze is a fun fighter outside of the top 10, probably. You know.
Mm-hmm. Props to Herb Dean.
Probably Herb Dean, best performance of the night.
Yeah. Oh, dude, should have gotten a performance of the night bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. All right. We can go on to the co-main event now. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We had Renato Moicano versus Drew Dober. The people's main event?
This was the people's main event for sure. Moicano, obviously, everybody's hyped to see him back in there after the Moicano wants money, right? What's up, Big Apple? Joe Rogan. All that stuff. I was drinking beer, eating steaks in Brazil.
Dude.
I mean, just a legendary moment. And then Dober's like, everybody loves Dober. Does anybody dislike Drew Dober? How could you?
I don't know. He seems like a cool dude, man.
He seems like the greatest dude. He plays video games. He's like out there rocking Diablo when it first came out. You know,
he just had a baby recently.
Had a baby.
Shout out Regen, just had a baby too.
Shout out Regen. And like,
dude,
he just swings and bangs. So like, what's not to like?
And he has a chin on him, dude.
Yeah, he could take a shot, and physically his chin is just ridiculous. The guy looks like
You think he uses that little muscle, that muscle thing where you like chew on it and it's like rubber and it builds your jawline?
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, maybe.
Oh, dude, you got to see it. He's like the poster child for that. He's got to be.
Yeah.
But dude, so Moicano hadn't gone to the third round since 2018. When I heard that stat, Jesus. I thought that is insane. But
and then Drew Dober. When's the last time Drew Dober went that long?
Man, I want to say he recently won 3 rounds, didn't he? With somebody?
Did he? Maybe.
Dude, I just can't remember who it is, but I want to say that it was a recent fight.
Last time he went to decision at least was 2018, but he did go to the third round against Rafael Alves when he knocked him out with the body shot.
But either way, I figured, okay, both these guys are exciting fighters. We're going to get some action here, right? Like to your point, we always have Drew Dober want to go in there, just throw caution to the wind. Moicano's on the up and up again, right? He's starting to build up his name again. His brand is starting to build up again.
Oh, yeah.
So I know that he was going to want to put on a show again. He was talking about, was it his podcast too at the end?
Well, his YouTube's sick, dude. He's just crazy. He's just like, the guy's nuts. It's hilarious.
But what do you think of the fight overall?
I mean, Drew Dober did a great job immediately closing the distance and landing nasty hooks. And he was hitting Moicano. He found the range immediately. And you could see sometimes when guys get hit, and it usually happens to like guys later in their career where they get hit and their shoulders kind of come up and they react like, ugh. And you can almost, it's like a cartoon when like someone gets hit real hard and then their whole body like shakes and they're like frozen for a second, you know?
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that. And he was getting clipped in these combos and you could see him like reacting like not great to the shots. And you're like, well, yeah, Drew Dober hits hard. And his return shots weren't landing very well, but his takedowns were fantastic, right? And if like you're fighting Drew Dober, if I'm fighting Drew Dober, I want to take him down as soon as possible. Why even risk it, right? and he would pass, and he kind of stay in that 3/4 mount, which is a lot of no gi stuff right now. It's all 3/4 mount stuff.
Yeah.
So like, I think DC was criticizing him. Someone was criticizing him for not passing out of that. He's like, he just wants to stick in half guard. Like, it's crazy that he's not passing to side mount or full mount. And it's like, nowadays 3/4 mount is almost better because side control is a lot easier to escape in MMA, whereas 3/4 mount you have them locked down pretty good, and you can land good ground and pound. You can set up an arm triangle and then pass. You can do stuff like that, you know. So I thought it was really good work. To Ganskow's point, I thought the groundwork from Moicano was really good.
For sure.
But then that lat drop.
Oh, that was legit.
Yeah, this was right after the lat drop. So because the whole time, anytime Moicano would clinch, he's pushing heavy, walking Drew Dober back. And eventually,
warning to everybody, we got some gruesome pictures coming up here pretty soon. Probably should have given that before we put the pictures up, huh?
That's the tradition, huh? At this point, it's a tradition. But you know, he's pushing so much into him and walking him back. Yeah, it's fucking sick, dude. If there's a picture like of me like this, if you're Drew Dober, right?
Frame it,
blow it up,
put that shit up, man cave.
Put it on the bed of your truck, you know, like the tailgate. But you know, if someone's pushing that much into you, and you have the correct, like, you pummel him for the right position, he's walking back, bam, hits the lateral drop, takes the momentum with him, tosses him across his own body. Fucking awesome lateral drop. It was beautiful. And then you see the blood. I think the next picture will show that the blood was from a clash of heads before the lateral drop. Not that one. That one's pretty fucking gnarly too.
Dude, this one, tell me it doesn't look like something from like The Last of Us, where like he's just about to change, you know, and turn into a zombie. He's just about to. Gnarly picture, man. Such a good shot.
This one here, it's actually the clinch from Moicano, where he came in and basically went head first. He actually went head to the left side. So the left side of Drew Dober's head, where he has the overhook. Moicano came in that way, but then he switched his head to the other side. And as he did that, he smacked Drew Dober in the face with his own face. And then the next picture will show the lateral drop. And you can see he's already bleeding here before they end up on the ground.
Good call.
I might be colorblind, but I can't see.
Good eyes.
He says, I've been saying that for a long time. Side control and mount are not as dominant and easy to lose after minutes of work. Yeah. It used to be you wanted side control, you wanted full mount. Yep. You still want full mount to a certain extent, but it is way harder to maintain. Just everybody's so good on the ground now that
I think it depends on the point of the fight, how damaged your opponent already is, right? Like all those things playing. Because to your point, they figured it out, man. Everybody's well versed. It
used to be you get full mount, it's a wrap. It's over. It's not that anymore. It's just not.
Yeah.
But yeah, the lateral drop was fucking awesome, and unfortunately, also the reason Drew Dober lost the fight. You know, because third round tries to hit the lat drop again, does not work, and the downside with the lateral drop is very high risk, high reward, but that high risk is costly, man. It is really costly because you basically just pull guard, but you're not even in guard. They're now in a dominant position.
The thing that sucks too, though, is like at this level, right, with like a Moicano, for example, that happens once, and Moicano puts that in his memory bank. He's like, okay, not going to let that happen again. As soon as he feels it happening again, he's just going to use it against you and use your momentum.
Yeah. Right? And I saw people knocking Drew Dober for trying it the second time, and it's like, dude, I can't think of a more armchair expert thing to say, because it's like, dude, they're in a fist fight where it's bloody. These guys are working each other. They're landing bombs on each other. He doesn't want to end up on his back. It worked already. Like, he might think, oh, I got the fucking silver bullet here on this clinch entry that he has. Like, to be able to say it's so easy to say that on the outside, like, oh, how would he try that again? It's like, because it worked. You know, to your credit, right? You're saying, like, against someone like Moicano, it's tough to do that twice, but you're not saying he's dumb for trying.
Yeah, you know at the same time, against somebody like Moicano, you think it'd be hard to even do it at all, like for it to even happen once. So I get it.
Yeah. Plus now he's bloodied. He's clearly like a little concussed probably from that, and so why wouldn't you try it again if it already worked? And
you know, it was Drew Dober's 40th professional fight.
Damn.
Yeah, dude. I didn't realize that
Damn.
he had that many miles on him.
I mean, he's been doing it for a long time. When was his UFC debut, at least?
I don't know. Omar coming through saying, if y'all pretended this event never happened and didn't post a reaction recap, we wouldn't blame y'all.
Yeah. We almost didn't.
It was close. Mother Nature almost said, "Now y'all don't talk about this now."
Yeah. We're gonna scrub this one. But then we wouldn't get to talk about this interview from Moicano, the round 2 from Money Moicano.
Oh, geez, just goes
said
off, huh?
Later on, he said, "Yeah, I wasn't planning because I didn't get a finish. I wasn't planning on going off, but then I saw the microphone and I couldn't help it."
So hilarious, dude.
So fun.
Hilarious.
DC the whole time was trying to get a question in, and then every time he would try to bring the mic back to himself, Moicano would just grab it and keep going, and then he'd let go, and then DC would, "I'm about to ask a question." Nope.
I'm surprised that DC didn't just walk off. He's probably my least favorite person to interview people because he doesn't give them a chance. Like,
it's the worst.
You can tell he just listens to the producers right away and is like, all right, dude, they tell me to cut off. Sorry, I got to dip out, right? But with Moicano, he had like the smirk on his face the entire time, and he's holding the mic up to him. He's like, this is actually kind of funny.
When he said his dad is 62 years old and just gave birth to a baby brother, I was like, they're about to pull this mic, dude. There's no way they let this. But that was the beginning. He's like, I'm about to go home and make my own baby just to show my dad. And it's like, what? And he's like, yeah, I love America. It's the greatest country. I want to be a police officer. I want to be SWAT. I want to kill the bad guys. You're like, what is he talking about, dude?
Dude, it's gold. Dude. It's just gold, man. Just give him the mic. Let him run with it, dude. All right.
So
anything
funny,
else
dude.
on the people's main event?
No, I don't know what we do next. Drew Dober, man, it seems like he's been alternating wins and losses here a little bit, which sucks because he's so fun. But you know, both these guys, I don't care win or lose. Anytime they fight, I want to watch again. You know.
Oh, absolutely, man. They're so much fun. Shout out Colleen. Thanks for joining us. She said that was the best. He cracked me up. I mean, how can you not laugh at Moicano?
Yeah,
with so Moicano, funny. I should say.
And the fact that like English isn't his first language, like. He'll go on like a full rant and then like pause for a second, and you think he's done, but it's just him thinking about like how to say the next thing.
He's translating it in his head.
So funny, dude.
So
it
good.
Just really adds to it.
Omar says Dober versus winner of Green and Miller.
Ooh, so rematch. So potential rematch for Bobby Green there. Miller versus Dober would be tough, man. I don't know if I want to see that.
Tough for Miller.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see
tough for Miller. All right, we can move on to the next fight. We also had Randy Brown versus Muslim Salikov.
Yeah, these are going to start to go by pretty quick here. Muslim Salikov, one of my all-time boys right here, dude. Just the king of kung fu. So much fun stuff. Like, you know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get wheel kicks. You're going to get the shoulder feint, the shoulder feint, the shoulder feint. You commit, low kick. And like every single time. And unfortunately, Randy Brown's team also knew that. They timed that for a while. That shoulder feint was working, and he's landing that outside leg kick, and you're like, "This is textbook Salikov right here, king of kung fu." And then eventually, he was like, "Okay, he wants the jab off that shoulder feint. If I double up that jab off the shoulder feint, and then come through with the 2 from way over here, he's gonna be there."
And across, dude. All the way across his body. Like the follow through was insane. And I think that the way that he double jabbed too was so beautiful, man, because he was actually like moving towards his left. He took a step to his left with every single one, right? He's like jab, left, and then just across the body, landed flush. Dude, beautiful slow motion shot too.
Yeah. It's one of those shots where like it looks like someone sniped him from the nosebleeds, you know, because like it was so fast. It didn't even look like it hit him kind of real time. Hey, shout out for to win MMA, 2 fine MMA gents. It's been a while, dude. Good to see you.
It has been a while. Nice to see you back on the chat, man. Absolutely. Hope all is well.
Big things. But yeah, like to your point, Randy Brown, that's one of the things he really does well is when he jabs, he really steps into his jab because he's so long. So he gains so much distance on that jab. He's not just jabbing from his stance. He steps into his jab really, really well. He's long for the division.
Yeah, he has that perfect frame, right? That like long, lanky, you know, perfect for the weight class.
Yeah, Omar says, I really hope the Randy Brown hype train finally leaves the station this year. Dude keeps losing when it matters. Heck, dude was even looking against JDM until he got caught. Yeah, it's true. He just can't, you know, get over that hump, you know. So hopefully, like you said, he keeps every time he needs to get a win to like stay on track, he does. It's just he can't get over that hump. Has he ever had back-to-back losses?
I don't know.
No, he hasn't. Good job.
He said, "Good job."
But it was a nasty shot. It was really good read, and another time where in between rounds, I think they said, or not in between rounds, but there was a point before where his corner yells something, and he literally looks to his corner and says, "I see it," and I guarantee it was that shoulder feint, guaranteed, because he got it right away, right after. Very cool to see stuff like that. I love stuff like that. That's fucking sick. It was like the opposite of when remember when we talked about earlier, Rumble versus Gustafsson, where there was an eye poke or something, so there's a break and they're about to reset, and you hear Gustafsson's corner yell front kick, and Rumble looks over, and then they restart. Gustafsson throws the front kick, he just slips it and it drops him.
Yeah,
brutal, dude.
Man,
brutal.
I miss that fighter, dude. Alexander Gustafsson.
I miss Rumble, man. Rest in peace.
I know, I miss Rumble too. I know, but do you remember how exciting Gustafsson was? In his prime? Prime Gustafsson beat John Jones?
We would probably finish this podcast talking about him, and it'd be better than covering the rest of these fights. But let's move on.
Oh, man. All right, hey. Want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's move on to the next one. Hey, shout out for the win. Talking about Metahibas and Jillian Robertson in a few days. I'll drop you boys an invite later. Hey, shout out.
Muito bom, muito bom. Natalia Silva versus Viviane Araújo.
Dude, Silva is, I'm going to say it right now, dude. Clip it. Silva's a future champ.
Oh.
I've already had my
predictions episode.
Nope. I'm not saying it's happening this year, but she will get a belt. She will get a belt.
Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not this month. But it will happen. Maybe not this year.
Yeah.
Little Brandon Moreno quote there.
She is so good, dude. And Araújo, she's a little bit long in the tooth now. How old is she? 37, right? So it's tough. Omar says Silva is what Watterson thinks she is. Damn.
Oh, dang.
Dude, her lateral movement, her lead leg is so good. Araújo is just walking her down. She gets her back against the fence, which is clearly where she wants to be anyways. She's moving left, she's moving right, and then she snaps that lead leg up, hook kicks, front kicks, just switch kicks. Fantastic work, to the point where Araújo is just so worried about that leg coming up, and then all of a sudden she finally gets past the leg and she just uncorks a vicious combo that drops her, and you're like, oh yeah, because you have to think so much about the kicks because they come from nowhere and they're so fast, there's no telegraph, that when she actually throws her hands, you're just like, oh shit, I also have to worry about the hands. I forgot about the hands because she lulled me with these kicks. Very good game plan. Really cool.
Can we just talk about her footwork real quick? Dude, the lateral movement nonstop. You know what it reminded me of, kinda was a little Izzy reminded me a little bit of a Dominic Cruz without the heavy breakdancing type movement, but where she's just moving laterally nonstop, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you mentioned the fact that she doesn't telegraph her kicks very much at all. But when you think she's moving laterally and just gonna move laterally, she's like whack.
Yeah.
And then she moves laterally. It seems like such a frustrating style to go up against, man.
Well, and that's she hasn't fought anybody that can really exploit it, but there are going to be fighters as she gets up there. This was at 125, right?
Yeah.
Andrade, I don't know where Andrade is going to stay. I know she's fought at 115. She was a champ, 125 also. If she fights somebody like Andrade, who's willing to just walk her down, cut the cage off, and not give a fuck and walk through and land those power punches, because look, it's all great if you're putting your back up against the fence and you can escape and stuff like that, but we still haven't really seen her be tested with someone who doesn't care and isn't going to be super cautious and frozen, and who's just going to walk in and still try to land theirs. And it's going to be interesting to see her when she does actually get effectively smothered, if that makes sense. That's the next thing that I want to see, to know for sure. But I think it's just a matter of time, dude.
Fun fighter,
what are the rank? Very fun fighter. Something that division really, really needs. Above her is Macy Barber. That's actually a fun fight.
Yeah, that is a fun fight. Macy Barber has a fight coming up here pretty soon, though, right?
She does, yeah. So, man, she's getting up. I think she's going to be a champ, dude. I think she's going to be a champ.
Calling it now, huh?
Yeah, very fun. Omar says, would you slow your roll here to the top, or are we strapping the rocket ship to the top? I think at this point, honestly, one more
That's
fight,
a
she
good
could get a
question. Do
title
we
shot.
play it a little bit slower?
I think one more fight and she could get a title shot. Look, if she beats anybody above her besides Chikagian or Macy Barber, right? But I think she might skip them anyways. She fights Andrade. Manon Fiorot's got a fight against Blanchfield. Is that who she's fighting?
Yeah.
Does she have a fight coming up?
Blanchfield?
Fiorot.
Oh, I don't know.
She beat Rose, right? Yeah, she is fighting Blanchfield. So if maybe she fights the loser of Blanchfield Fiorot, and if
just
you
like
beat
that, huh? Just throw her up there.
Well, look at who's above her. You do Andrade or do you do Chikagian? Like, who wants to see that? Let's be real.
Yeah. Yeah, but man, Andrade, Ultimate Gatekeeper. Maybe we find out.
Maybe and that's the type of fighter, right? That's the type of fighter. That's the one, you know. And you know, Macy Barber's fighting Chikagian, so
there you go.
Everybody above her's booked. Maybe
give her Jessica Andrade.
Maybe you go Andrade.
Do it. Why not? All right. You ready to move on to the next one?
I did not see the dating meme of Natalia Silva, but I'm sure it's hilarious.
I did not, but yeah, please send it my way through Instagram.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, Andrade is fighting Marina Rodriguez at UFC 300. So Natalia Silva, you just wait for all those fights to play out, and that's your path.
And pick from there. There.
That's your path.
All right, let's move on, man. We had another fight. Before that, we had Charles Radtke versus Gilbert Urbina.
All right, this is where we're gonna get. Look, Charles Radtke, that's the guy that in Australia he started the night off with the derogatory terms that Manel Kopp followed suit with. This guy's something else, man. He really is. He fights Gilbert Urbina. He just walks him down, throws the left hook until he knocks him out. Pretty cool. You know that's what he wants. A cool shoulder feint. Really cool shoulder feint. Urbina tries to counter off the shoulder feint. He bit hard on it. Starts to throw a punch. Leaves his chin way up. Catches the left hook.
That was the entire fight.
Down. That was
head center line, chin way up.
Yeah, left hook. Until he gets to finish. Right. Very cool. But the best part is the post-fight press conference. That's the thing that matters the most out of all this. The funniest thing about this was he's out there. They're asking him, "Oh, who you want to fight next?" All this stuff. And he's like, "How much money you got?" I feel like we all give you these interviews for free. You guys got to start paying. And then he's like, "Who's next?" And just nobody. Everyone's like, "All right, you can bring that up. We're just not gonna ask you any questions." And he's like, "All right, cool." Puts the mic down and leaves. So funny, dude.
Oh my god, this guy sounds terrible.
Yeah, he has to see if he was nervous at the start of the interview. Yes, so
Omar,
funny, dude.
Perfect reference.
Yeah, Radtke belongs in Chappelle. Keeping it real close wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the win says T-Rex tried to charge me $50 for an interview last week.
It's getting crazy. It's getting crazy out there.
Patty started that nonsense, huh?
Thanks a lot, Patty.
But yeah, shout out.
Speaking of Patty.
Yeah, speaking of Patty,
perfect transition. Patty the Baddie's buddy, Molly McCann, went up against Diana Belvita.
Meatball Molly. Can't call her Meatball anymore. She goes down weight class.
Yeah. She's looking in shape, huh?
No more Meatball Molly. Goes out there against your girl probably. And clearly
beautiful hair.
Clearly the matchmaker's girl as well, based off the picture.
Sean Shelby. He ain't even tripping. He knows cameras are out, but you know he's there for it.
Yeah. But yeah, Molly McCann shredded. Like I said, no more Meatball Molly. She goes out there.
This is the best shape I've ever seen her in.
Yeah, definitely. Well, she went down a weight class, right? She got to trim up. Belvita was like, I'll just keep walking forward and have my hands high and my chin down and just keep walking forward doing that the whole fight. And let's see what happens.
Fist versus my forehead.
Yeah, your fist versus my face. Let's go. What's that from? Step Brothers? Is that Step Brothers?
Is it? I don't think so.
I don't know. What's that from?
But I thought it was a nice read, right? Because I mean, it's obvious.
What read? Guard, come on.
Forehead down, but I love the adjustment because the knee that Rich just put up, for example, she starts finding the knee, but then also the step in elbow.
Yeah, that was good too.
Right? If she's putting your forehead down and forward and she's giving you that and you're able to step in, remind me very much of the Muay Thai fights that we've been watching on One.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Belbita landed a left hook to the body, and her corner freaked out, and they're like, "She's hurt. She's hurt." Don't think she was. Because meanwhile, she just kept walking forward. She just landed everything she tried to throw, and then armbarred her, broke her arm, pretty bad.
oof,
Hate to see that. You hear her screaming after they call the fight. That's always tough to watch.
painful.
But props to Molly for getting back in there and getting a win.
I mean, look at that shot there, man.
Yeah, that's tough, man. Again, graphic content warning if you.
Oh yeah. We forgot to. And Rich zooms in on it right as we say graphic content. I like it. All right, man.
Oh,
But that's pretty much on that one, huh?
That's it. Look, it's a bounce back win. Good for her.
We'll move on.
I don't know. I don't know if we need to see Belbita fight again. To be honest, I think.
I don't want mind seeing her one more time.
I don't know, man. She's 15-9 now. In her last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, she is 2-5.
Hey, dude, if we've watched Tony Ferguson these last 5 fights, we can watch Belbita one more time, okay?
Look, she's losing to girls like Gloria De Paula, Liana Jojua,
all future champs.
All not in the UFC anymore. I mean, look, we don't need this.
Hey, but a good fight for Meatball Molly to go in and say like, "Hey, is this my division for me? How am I going to feel in this division? Does my power still carry over? You know, what does my cardio look like?" And smart by the UFC as well, right? Because they see that they have something in Meatball Molly.
I guess, man.
Dude, she has
I don't know if I can commit to this. She has a big following for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
John Gooden's talking about.
John Gooden's like,
she got a show on BBC. It's like, what are we doing?
Oh yeah. Like, it's a reality show, is it? Her and Patty?
Yeah. I'm sure it's fucking awful to watch.
Hey, don't knock it till you actually watch it, dude. We gotta watch it.
Look, dude.
As long as they put subtitles on there, I'll watch it. All right.
Oh God.
Before that fight, we had Charles Johnson versus Azat Maxim.
Yeah, this is the best fight on the card. This is fucking awesome.
Break it down, my friend.
Charles Johnson walking out with another fantastic hairdo. He's been doing that recently. Doing the reverse mustache is what I call this one. You know, Maxim, he's a Kazakh. He's undefeated. Everyone's like, oh, he's the flyweight version of Shavkat Rakhmonov. You know, he looked like it in the first round because something that Charles Johnson always does. He always slips to the elbow side hard, where he leans off the center line hard. And if you know that and you're going to fight him, all you need to do is throw out that jab. And then that cross, if you know where he's going, because that's where he goes in all his fights, you know you're going to land it because you know where you're punching where he's going to be versus he thinks he's slipping your cross, but you know he's going to slip the cross that way if you've seen any of his fights. So immediately, Maxim looks like he's got magnets in his hands. He's punching before he's even there, and he's cracking him. He drops him like 3 times in the first round.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, this is gonna be a long night for Charles Johnson. And Charles Johnson, he'd get hit and he'd wipe his face. And it's not a very good look for the judges if you're consistently. Look, you might be doing that as like no, it's all good. I'm all good. But the judges see you reacting to a shot, and ultimately you want to no sell it every single time. You want to no sell it. And he's doing the opposite of that, right? Omar says, I always root against Johnson because of that hair. By principle, I cannot support that. A mustache belongs on the face, not the neck. Look, man, I'm all for the creativeness, right? I was listening to, who was it? Someone was talking about how he's got the biggest Olympic tattoo, and he wasn't even in the Olympics. He's got a bigger Olympic tattoo than anybody else who actually goes.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you about that. So he's not an Olympian?
I don't think he's been to the Olympics, man.
Maybe he just really liked it.
Hey, man, I did too as a kid, you know? I was like Michael Phelps. First video I ever uploaded to YouTube, I think, was me recording my TV screen of Michael Phelps winning gold medals, and then YouTube took it down, and I was like, what the fuck? But, you know, the first round.
YouTube at a very young age.
Dude, this card fucking sucked, huh? Michael Phelps. But this fight was sick. Maxim, you know, like I said, he's cracking him early. He knows the reads before the fight's happening. But the downside of that is you didn't catch the adjustment of Johnson. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Because Johnson stuck around. He gutted through it. he survived those shots, and he started adjusting to those punches. So now it's almost better, if you're not going to knock him out with those shots, it's almost better to let him think he has the read early, or at least the slips early, so that he gets comfortable in those slips. Instead, it taught him, hey, my slips aren't working, I need to change them. And he did, which is really hard to do, but very cool to see someone adapt like that, when your A game gets fully realized immediately, to switch to something else and start making some moves. And dude, after that first round, Charles Johnson looked like fucking on fire, dude. So much fun, the stuff he was doing.
The level changes,
left,
man.
the level change.
So good, dude. And then
it was
when he
awesome.
drops and slides for that single leg and the
all the way across
through,
the fucking mat, dude.
Yes, it was so good, man. I was like, where?
Yeah, not for his knees.
Yeah,
that mat is sandpaper, man. That mat is focused primarily for striking, more so than grappling.
But it was very impressive the way that he turned it around,
dude. Because that second round, Yancey says every undefeated fighter needs a fight like this to test them. When you can't put them away and they keep coming at you 100%.
Yeah,
I'm sure Maxim's going to learn from this, because he's smashed everybody up until this point. So he hasn't really had to make adjustments in his game. So like you said, this is fantastic. A really good test for Maxim. I almost said a test for Ganskow. But was really cool, the shifting left, because he was shifting in these combos that were so fucking good, and he was landing so well. And he lands the left into the takedown, takes him down, takes his back, like just really cool work. And then Maxim ends up on top, and he still is able to get back up. And you might think, oh, the Kazakh's going to take this guy down, who's a striker primarily. This might be where he lost. This might be the beginning of the end of this round. And he's back up, working off his feet. Really cool distance management, really cool direction changes. He also, when he got dropped the first time, got put in a Darce and still survived it, even though he was just dropped. I mean, just a very impressive veteran performance from Charles Johnson. Fucking cool.
You know, the thing that Bisping always talks about is urgency and not accepting position.
Yeah.
And I saw 100%. That over and over and over again with Johnson scrambles.
Yeah.
Never really accepted anything, man. You know, in the second and third round, that really saved the fight for him, man. But overall, super impressive.
Saved his career, man. He was 0-3 coming into this. He lost his last 3 fights. That's not good.
Not
that's
good.
Bad. You lose 4 in a row, you're probably cut, right?
Probably.
But yeah, it was cool. He called out DC after the fact for his commentary, which I always love, because DC is such a bad commentator. He was like, DC the whole time was saying that I was moving. My defense was only working because it's so wrong that you don't expect it. And that's how it works. And he's like, my shit's technical as fuck. What are you talking about? I'm like, fuck it. And he's like, shout out to Laura Senko. She's a real one.
Oh, that's hilarious, dude.
Because Laura was fantastic the whole card.
So Johnson lands that ninja choke while he's up against the fence.
Oh, yeah.
He lets go.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Was he out? Was Maxim out?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think he was
just like the position he was in when he released him, that he was like, whoa.
I think he was pressing into it, so that when Charles Johnson sidestepped out of the ninja choke, I think he stumbled. And he was also exhausted. I think it was more so that than it was him out. I don't think he was actually about to go out. It could be wrong. Who knows? It can go.
Dude, I don't know. It looked funky though after he let go.
But if you're Charles Johnson and if you're ninja choking somebody, if you're choking anybody, and you feel, especially if you're holding them up and they're starting to go limp, you're not letting go. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If anybody knows, it's Charles Johnson, and he let go of it. I doubt he was like. I have a hard time believing he wouldn't have felt that. But who knows?
There's only one way to find out. We got to ask him.
We gotta ask. I'd love to have him on, dude. I think his style is so fucking fun, dude. He's like the flyweight Bobby Green, dude. It's fucking cool to watch his movement.
True.
It's really cool.
True. Who has better hair, Bobby Green?
You know, he actually even had the beard kind of like it, right? Where he cuts the spikes into the beard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you got to pick one: Charles Johnson or Bobby Green.
Don't make me do this. we're going all right. We're going head here. We're going Charles Johnson.
Oh man,
it's different every time. I love it.
All right, you want to move on?
Yeah, let's do it. We only got a couple more fights we're going to cover.
All right, we had Temba Garimbo versus Pete Rodriguez.
Big overhand right. Immediately, 30 seconds in, overhand right. You know it's a wrestler who threw the overhand right when it lands with the wrist instead of the fist.
It was like behind the ear, right?
Yeah, still dropped him.
Yeah.
Tried to fight Herb Dean. There it is. Look at that.
Went for a single leg?
Landing with the knuckles is overrated. If you can just swing your arm like a baseball bat and crack him with your wrist, good enough.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
See, that's what Dolidze should have tried that instead of just his overhand right.
Well,
could have tried that.
But I mean, with the pictures that Rich just showed, he just showed you the fight.
Yeah, that's it. Is there a picture of him fighting Herb Dean, trying to get a single leg on Herb Dean?
No, unfortunately.
Oh well.
All right, we'll move on. I think this is the last fight we're going to cover. Jung Young Lee versus Blake Builder.
Ooh, Jung Young Lee is somebody to keep your eye on. So fucking good. So good.
Yeah. So when he
rocks against Blake Builder, but still.
Yeah, when he rocks Builder, right? The thing that I loved about Lee is that instead of just going head hunting, he went directly to the body, right? Because Builder's moving back, high guard, and he's like, "All right, do you want to give me those ribs? Tat tat." Oh, so good, man.
What was sick is it was the Jose Aldo Chad Mendes 2, or it was the first one, the knee where Chad Mendes is in on the takedown, leaning up against him. Aldo sidesteps that shit, knees him on the break. It was exactly the same. It was fucking cool. Here's a picture of the knee landing on him, and then the next picture is that left hook to the body.
Look at that. Beautiful.
But yeah, very cool awareness to do that instead of just spazzing out and trying to knock him out to the head when his hands are up like that. But just everything he was doing was working. He had that low lead arm like Arnold Allen in his fight against Evloev, so that he could get the underhooks, because Blake Builder's going to try to take you down. So if your arm's down there already, you got the underhook immediately. Very good movement, really good feints. I mean, just so good. Omar says, Jay Wild looks promising. He's not like the other Koreans who fall in love with one or two weapons and becomes predictable. Yeah, he looked very versatile. And then, Blake Builder takes the whole fight trying to take him down. And as soon as Jung Young Lee reverses him against the cage, immediately trips him, takes him down, like instantly. And you're like, damn, that's got to be discouraging when I spent this whole fight trying to take him down. And as soon as he tried the first attempt, he got me down. Just a really good performance from him.
Yep.
Really fun.
Now we're going to cover the road to the UFC Asia, right? Is what we're
Ray Saruya. Oh. Did I not put a picture in there?
No, you did not.
I thought I did. It was really good. It was better than the fucking actual card. But speaking of that, they're talking about Jung Young Lee, and Laura's like, yeah, his brother Jung Hyung Lee, and GC's like, wait, brother's got the same name as him or something like that. And she's like, no, it's Jung Young Lee and Jung Hyung Lee. And DC's like, what are we doing? Like, what? I can't imagine other cultures have different names. Like, and you're like, DC, stop talking. You're on an official broadcast. What are you doing, dude? What are you talking about? You're like, have you not heard of the Nogueira brothers? Like, it's not that weird. And DC was awful the whole card. There was a point where
best Nogueira brothers stories always come from Chael Sonnen, though.
Yeah, 100%.
Come on, dude. Feeding a bus a carrot.
He didn't make fun of their names, though. But DC at 1.2, Laura's like, yeah, they're in this open stance, Southpaw versus Orthodox. So I'd like to see him try to fight behind his jab a little bit more, which normally is actually not the right move. You want to land. It's better to land your rear hand if you're in an open stance, because all you have to do is step out outside the lead foot. It's right there, so it lines up your rear hand. But when she said that, DC's like, yeah, Laura, like, who do we see? We saw earlier. He forgot the name of a fight he watched fucking 20 minutes before that. And he's like, who was that? Thomas Peterson. It was Pogues. And he's landing. You see him landing the right straight, because when they're on the open stance, and it's like, DC, you realize you're contradicting what she's saying. He was talking like he was like agreeing with her, but he clearly just wasn't even paying attention to what she was actually saying. It's man. Dude, rough. And it was just like silent after that. You're like,
L for DC for the night, W for Herb Dean, huh?
W for Lorosenko, bro. There was also a point, we didn't talk about it, but was it Muradov versus Kizriev? Kizriev immediately eye pokes him. And she's like, yeah, you can see the way he can't open his eye. It's probably a corneal abrasion. I'm not trying to diagnose him or anything, but usually if you get poked in the eye and you can't, and your body won't let you open your eye, it's usually a corneal abrasion or a scratch in your cornea. And then like 2 minutes later, that you can hear the doctor talking to Herb Dean, and Herb's like, should we just give him more time? And the doctor's like, he can't open his eye. That's usually a corneal abrasion. And then it's like, oh my God, get her on a pay-per-view. She's so good.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Omar
Well,
says shout out to good and underrated in my opinion. Yeah, he is good. I'm glad that he's not just getting like the Europe fights. He's starting to do a little bit more, which is cool because I do like him. Him and Dan Hardy were such a great team, huh? They really dropped the ball there getting rid of Dan Hardy.
no, Gooden was legit though.
Yeah, he was.
All right. I think that was all we were going to cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you didn't watch Road to UFC season 2, because the UFC refuses to promote it, Ray Saruya won his weight class. That guy is fucking legit, dude. He took this dude's back. He starts spinning. He locks him in the body triangle as he's spinning, so he has him like a side position. Reaches over, almost like he's trying to get a twister on the upper half. Grabs him by the head and just starts torquing his head. You're like, that's not going to work, but it's probably awful. And he was just in there doing his thing, dude. Got the finish with 1 second left. That guy is someone to watch out for. Ray Saruya.
Well, is there anything to watch out for when it comes to the moment of silence, man? What did we lose out on? Maybe we recover some of these fights. Who knows?
Yeah, canceled fights. Let's see. Themba Grimbo was originally supposed to fight some guy nobody's ever heard of. Instead, he got Rodriguez, so he knocked him out with his wrist. Let's see. William Gomis. That actually would have been fun. I like him. Nate Mayenis versus Azat Maxim. That would have been fun, but I'm glad we got the Charles Johnson fight. Omar says, Ramiro trying to get the fuck out of here. Apex card ain't worthy of all our time. What are we doing?
For real, dude.
Yeah,
for real.
This
freaking
tough.
Apex card is really
we're
draining.
still 25 minutes. We're 25 minutes shorter than we normally are at this point.
Are we really?
Yeah. Dude.
No way.
We normally is an hour 15. We're at 50 minutes.
It's 50 minutes.
Am I mathing wrong? Is that not 25 minutes?
It's ridiculous. Ban the Apex Stance cow.
Yeah. I got
producer coming through saying I gotta cut the vids.
Oh man.
How about bonuses?
Yes, this is ban the Apex. Bonus, we got Randy Brown killing my boy. What else we got? Molly McCann for
breaking arms,
career,
snapping necks, and cashing checks.
Yeah, and then Maxim versus Johnson got fight of the night.
Oh, there we go.
It should go
from a 3-fight losing streak to making a bonus, huh?
Yeah, taking out an undefeated prospect.
It's a true turnaround story.
I like Johnson, man. He's a fun fighter to watch, win or lose. Fun style.
Yeah. And then next week, what do we have next week?
Would you believe it?
Another banger?
It's another Apex event?
Another banger?
It's true.
Yeah.
I saw a stat that over 14%, so you can say almost 15% of all UFC events ever have now been in the Apex. How sad is that?
Wow, that's insane.
How sad is that?
That's insane.
We got Hermanson versus Pfeiffer, which should be like a main card opener. Instead, it's headlining. We got the People's main event once again.
Hey, Andre Fili.
Against
always enjoy watching
Dan
Andre
Ige.
Fili fight.
Very fun fight.
For sure. Hey, dangerous
Pocheria.
fight.
For which one?
For Andre Fili, man.
I think for both, huh?
Yeah.
Andre
Fili, rangy fighter, man. Can be pretty creative. Ige, though, has that power in that right hand.
Yeah, 100%. It's a fun fight, man.
It's going to be a fun fight, for sure.
Yeah, it's got his body bags. We got Pocheria versus Robert. I know I'm going to butcher that name. It's so different than what it looks like. Pocheria hopefully loses, but Robert's pretty bad. I don't like Pocheria because he knocked out Shogun in his retirement fight and then did the Fortnite emote over him. So he's dead to me. Brad Tavares versus Robocop's a fucking banger. Michael Johnson versus Darius Flowers should be fun. Rodolfo Vieira versus Armin Petrosian. Striker versus Grappler. Zero gas tank on either of them.
Trevin Giles.
Trevin Giles is on there. Sure is. Balaji's on there making his UFC debut. Everybody's
girls
on
there.
Him. Loma, Lukbunme.
Yeah, Lukbunme. Dude, hey, spot on, dude. Very good. Can you say it one more time?
Nope. Because it's definitely going to be worse. There's some stuff to look out for on this one. It's not the worst ever.
All right. Well, hey, thank you, Ganskow, for the win. Thank you, Omar, Colleen, Regen. It's always a blast whenever y'all join us live so we can talk fights together. Shout out Rich for still being awake. Even he still has to cut those fights, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, for anybody, if this was your first time joining us, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. promise you it's usually a lot more exciting when we talk fights whenever the event is exciting itself. If you don't like watching, but you like listening.
Yeah, ask Story the Fight on everything. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere podcasts are found. StoryTheFight.com. Go through everything. Remember when the UFC would try to make good events that people were like excited about beforehand and like talking about who do you think's gonna win? Who do you think's gonna win? You think anybody's having that conversation about Hermanson versus Piper?
All over.
Outside of people who are like degenerate gamblers.
Oh no.
Yeah.
All right.
Any chances beanies are coming back to merch? We're looking for someone who can make them for us. The last company stopped making them, and we'll find somebody eventually.
Yeah, this might go in a museum here pretty soon. Actually, we'll see if this is the first and only ever made. But shout out to everybody that joined us. And in case you're wondering, like, who produces this show? That's actually Mr. Richard Bustos in the background producing the show. Hey, there it is. All right, thanks everybody for joining us for another week of Story of the Fight. The elements couldn't stop us this time, Will.